So pizzicato, of course, is the technique where we're plucking the strings, and it's it's a technique we use really throughout string playing, and it's also the very first way we learn to produce sound out of the instruments. Usually, we'll do it as we are in the background in other parts of the class, working on developing the bow hand, the bow hold, and those kinds of things. We still want to get students to a place where they can produce some kind of sound, and pizzicato is a great entryway to that. So here's how I introduce pizzicato in the beginning class when I've got a whole group of students. As with anything else, I use a sequence. A thing that I repeat multiple times over and over, so students, it's easier to capture, easier to learn, and easier to review because there's just kind of a set way of doing these things. So this is assuming now that we've got the position all set up, everything's ready to go. So I've got a step-by-step process that I have students go through. So step one, I tell them thumbs up, starting with something that, most kids are going to know what a thumbs up means. And so that's step one. Step two, we'll go thumbs down. And so we're just taking that thumb and pointing it downward. Step three, I say plant it. So step three is plant it. And they're going to plant it, and I'm very specific in how they do this. With upper strings, they're going to take that downward pointing thumb and place it, if you can see, at the base of the fingerboard, so at the very bottom of the fingerboard. And I want you to see how the tip of the thumb tip, is actually on the wood of the instrument. You can kind of see my little scratch marks where I've gotten it there. But the tip of the thumb is on the instrument. The side of the thumb is resting against this bottom part of the fingerboard. And that's really, really critical. So that's step three, plant it. For cellos and basses, when they're holding their instruments like this, they also have a step three, plant it, in which they take the side of their thumb and they align it with the very bottom of this edge of the fingerboard here, if you can see that. So the fingerboard ends here. They take the side of their thumb, kind of the end side of the thumb here, and they align it right along that edge. So that's step three. And then the final step is finger out. So now once they're at step three, they just take their index finger and their index finger only, and they pop it out like this for cello and bass. And then for violin and viola, the finger out is like this. Right? And so they all follow the same sequence. It just looks a little bit different at that step three. So I'll kind of walk through it very quickly. Oh, I should mention, on the finger out, I have them do a sound effect, a nice little popping sound, or kind of whatever you want. It's kind of fun. It's kind of cheesy and goofy, but because of that, they remember it. So it looks like this. Pizzicato position, thumbs up, thumbs down, plant them, finger out. And then for cello, obviously they'd be holding the cello correctly. I'm just kind of using a violin as a prop here so you can kind of see. Pizzicato position, thumbs up, thumbs down, plant them, finger out. And what this process does, especially by having the thumb kind of going vertical here, it's going to encourage, I guess we could say force, the students to use proper pizzicato position, which involves using the side of the finger. A common misconception, even among more experienced string students, is that you're going to use kind of the tip of the finger to do the pluck, almost kind of like a soft guitar pick. But in fact, we get a much better sound if we're using the side of the finger. So with the thumb pointed down, once I do that last step for violin and viola, you can see how the side of the finger really is poised to kind of get a nice, thick plucking of the string. I talk about finger flesh a lot rather than the tip of the finger, which is a little thinner, a little pointier. Get something a little more robust like that. And similar with cello, with the thumb pointed down, I'm still encouraged to use the side of that finger for pizzicato. Okay, so that's a basic pizzicato technique. It's always going to use the side of the finger. Okay, so that's kind of the thing. And I even do a kind of a chant with my students. I remind them, always the side. They say always the side, never the tip, never the tip. And I bring this back even in more advanced levels too. Just reminding students that good pizzicato is always using the side of the finger. I hope this helps.